Hi everyone, this is a short video just to show some tips whilst working in your cityscape. So I'm going to open up the cityscape that I've been working on. I've been working on a couple, but this is one I've been working on most recently. Now, when you place buildings in to your cityscape, I have a few tips that might help you. And I want to just emphasize again that what you're going to be putting into your cityscape as buildings is just block objects to show volume, right? And the footprint and the volume of buildings. We're not really concerned with drawing detail like the finish, the windows, the doors, the type of materials and those sorts of things. On the block that I've started to develop here, you can see some sizes there. I've got a footprint of about 20 meters in both directions here and a height there of 36. This other one that I've done is a different shape building, a rectangle footprint, not as wide, only 16 meters wide and 14 meters in length. And over in this corner here, you can see that I've done a hexagon footprint, and I've pulled it up and then I subdivided the hexagon, pulled the back up even more so that people who would be in the back of the building would have access through windows on this part here to the water views. So yeah, you don't have to limit your design to just simple squares. You can go, with circular. You can even do a tower like Center Point Tower or something like that if you wanted to. Don't worry about going into too much detail about ground cover and all those sorts of things. I was just having a bit of play with that. But I do want to show you, if you are interested in having a couple of different ground textures, on how you might achieve that. So let's do that, and I'll continue this maybe on this block here. So first tip I have is this. Use the rectangle tool to draw your footprint of the building. Okay, use maybe in factors of 5 meters. So you might do a 20 by 20 meter building, or a 25 or a 30 or a 35. All right, but keep it simple so that your work doesn't become too complicated. This one I'm going to do a 25, comma 15. Let's do that. So a small building at the front there. Now, what I recommend is this: double click in the surface that you've just drawn, and the double click will highlight the surface as well as the surrounding lines, and make a group. So right click it then and click make group, and I'll show you the difference. When we pull the object up, so we need to double click to edit our group. When we pull that up, and we'll give this one, we won't make it such a high building. Come on. All right. Maybe only 20, let's say 25 meters high. Okay, I might do, just to make it a little interesting, an offset there of 1 meter, and put a little depression in the top there, as if it had a, maybe 1.5 meters there. So as if it had like a rooftop that you could walk around or something like that. So there's a simple building design. Now, because we've created a group from that footprint before we pulled it up, if I want to move the building, I can now do that. Okay, and the whole entire building moves with me, or with the rest of the building, so it doesn't separate. And what I mean is this: let's do the alternative. We draw a building, we'll do the same thing. We'll go 25 by 15. This time what I'll do is I'll just pull that surface straight up, and let's make it the same height as this one. And I'll do an offset so that they are identical in appearance for you. So not that face, this face. So 1 meter offset, and then I want to sink that down 1.5 meters down, so the same height as that one. So I'm going to infer to that, and that will give me the same height. Now, remember, this one was a group. This one's not. So when I try to move this building, pick a corner and move it. Oops, not you. So we want this building. Okay. So if we try to move this building, you'll notice that only that face moves. Okay. Or if I don't have anything selected and I just click the, sorry, we'll try and move again. That corner, that this time only the corner moves. Right. So that can be a problem for you. And then once you've done a few of these, you realize, I want to start rearranging them, maybe, you know, turning them around to face a different direction or something. That becomes quite difficult because they are not grouped. Whereas if you take the time, just whenever you create the building, to initially group them, then you won't have that issue. All right, so here's another thing. It's a common question, and then I'm going to leave it at that for today. Some people want to have some greenery, and then they want to have an area that might be like pavement, for example, like that. And what happens, as you can see, on some angles it covers the green, and on other angles you can see it. You can see through it. Okay, so here's what I suggest you do. That's just because there is no distance between the green layer and the layer that you've just drawn on top of it. It's so thin that it renders it and it comes through. So this is what we do. We'll double click this to select it all, and we'll make it a group. And then what you can do is you're going to lift up that group ever so slightly. So it goes up on the blue axis like that. All right, and you can type in there something like 0.05 of a meter, which is like, you know, a very, very small amount. And what that does is it just lifts it off the ground, off the green surface, just that little bit. To the naked eye, you can hardly see it. Right? If you zoomed right in there, you would see it. It's quite a small distance, but it's just enough so that when you want to view it like this, or even if you want to apply a material, for example, you think, I want to have some brickwork there, so you can go down to your brickwork and put it on there, and then it covers correctly. Okay, so let's get rid of him. And if we zoom in closer, you'll see the brickwork pattern is in there. All right, so that's just a couple of tips, making groups, which will make your life easier. To go ahead and make this a group now, after it's been created, you have to very carefully select it, making sure that you haven't got any other objects in the background or, you know, behind it or something like that, and then make it a group. It can be problematic because sometimes it includes the ground, and when you try and move it, this time I was lucky, it can move the ground and distort that. Okay. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover. Keep your building shapes basic. Try to maybe put them in units of 5, you know, 15, 20 or 25 or 35, something like that, meters, okay? And have fun designing your city, and I'll see you in the next video.